Good evening, everyone. I'm John Cappello, and this is Prediction Night for 2022. Thank you for joining us. We have been getting together for several years now, and we have been making predictions for the upcoming events that will happen in the new year. And so tonight, I'd like to introduce again Joy Kauf, Mary Beth Wood, and Frances May. And we're going to be getting started here in just a couple of minutes, but just as kind of an overview, we hope that you're all doing well, and we hope that your family has been safe and COVID-free the past year. We know there's been lots of changes during 2021, but we're really glad that you're with us. And so this is a video that we hope that you'll share with other people because we feel like we have some really good information to give you this evening. So thank you once again for being here. If you have questions, we want you to go ahead and feel free to ask us questions in the chat. We're going to try to do our best to answer those. And then, of course, we're going to give you information on how to reach each of us later on when each of us is doing a presentation. This way you can email us and you can figure out how to get to our websites and so on and so forth. So does anyone have any opening remarks before we get started? No? Okay. Okay. Looks like we've got one more minute here to talk, and so I'll do what I can to be fill in a minute or so. I always hate to talk about myself. I get tired talking about myself. So that's true. Don't believe what you hear. So, but. No, we're really pleased to be here. I'm so grateful for Joy and Mary Beth and also Frances, for everybody to keep coming back every year. I thought that this was not going to be a year that I did the prediction night, but I decided to do it after Mary Beth called me and said we really should do it. So everyone was kind enough to join again. I don't know if this is my last one or not, but we'll see. So welcome to 2022. We're going to get started tonight with Joy Kauf giving her predictions for 2022. But I've asked everyone to talk a little bit about 2021 if they remember or have their notes from last year. If they do, then fine. If not, that's okay too. We really haven't discussed what we're going to say. We talked a little bit before the broadcast tonight, but we haven't really discussed our specifics. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Joy. And by the way, I watched the video last week about what Joy predicted. I was just astounded. So I'm gonna let her speak for herself though. So here's Joy Kauf. So thank you.
So last year, one of my predictions was it was based on COVID-19. And what I said was at the beginning of January that later in the year we were going to have two variances that were going to come out again of COVID-19 that was going to create a new surge, and we would need to learn how to operate or operate through that environment, which actually did happen, which I was surprised when I listened back at what it is that I said. One of the big items that I talked about last year was really going to be about our global warming or changes of the earth and different changes that were happening. And I'm going to say the same thing that I said last year. I said, the earth doesn't need us to survive. It's going to survive whether we're here or not. It's more about, do we want humanity to survive? Do we still want to be here on this planet? And one of the items that I mentioned last year were storms that we've never seen before. That there were going to be these earth changes that are really going to cripple us that we have never seen before. And if you were in Texas, we had, I'm going to say February, an ice storm that closed businesses down. Some people had no heat for 2 weeks. They had no electricity. It was just a deadly storm that actually hit Texas. And hurricanes, I talked about hurricanes as well. And there was another one that really hit New Orleans hard. Again, where it knocked out their electrical system for a couple of weeks, telephone systems, and I'm going to talk a little bit about seeing more of that in 2022. Another item I touched is changing the way that we run business. I believe that we are in a time of chaos. And how do you handle chaos? Are you flexible to be able to go with the flow? Can you make adjustments that you need to make? And I said that I saw corporate America bringing a lot of jobs back and keeping it with some of their workforce that's actually working from home. I feel that that helps save expenses on a corporate side, but as well as helps an employee actually get anywhere from 2 to 3 hours a day because they're not driving to an office. And in hearing some of the people that walk into my store, it's like some of the employees say, we refuse to go back to work, and now they're calling us in and asking us, okay, what do we need to do to get you to work from home? How can we reset up what this work environment looks like? And I feel that that's going to be a continuation that's going to happen in 2022. So those were my 3 big ones that I talked about. I'm going to talk a little bit again about COVID-19 because I feel like it's really here to stay with us for a period of time. I don't feel that it's going anywhere. We are going to have to just adjust when these outbreaks happen. And I see that we're going to have another variant that's going to come through that's going to be similar to what the Delta variant was. And I think we're going to see this virus is really going to start to morph. And what do I mean by that? It is going to end up at some of these variances are not going to be as serious as other variances. So it is really starting to change, and it is going to start moving itself out, changing itself, and then we're going to actually have to adapt with that. I see several variances that are going to be similar to the common cold. It's not going to be that serious, but I do see another one. And we're going to have these waves, and it's about learning how to ride those waves when they happen. I'm going to talk a little bit, I'm going to kind of morph 2 things together here, even though it's on my back sheet. I'm going to talk a little bit about medical breakthroughs. And I feel that they already know, the medical community, so when I say they, I'm going to talk about the medical community, scientists already know that there's some human beings who are just resistant to COVID-19. They can't get it. I could talk about a couple of my own personal experience last year with COVID-19 with the Delta version. I'm not saying I can't get it, but I was literally sharing French fries with my daughter who had the Delta version at that time, and I did not come down with it. I have interacted with people who had COVID-19 at some juncture, and I never actually came down with it. I keep testing negative in the COVID test that I take over and over again anytime I'm interacting with people. I'm not saying that that's everyone. I don't know what causes it. I feel it may be at a gene level for us. Maybe there's human beings that they're starting to discover have this specific gene, and for some reason they're resistant to COVID-19. I feel that COVID has given our medical community, our scientist community, an opportunity to study it a little bit more closely and understand what genes may resist certain viral infections that has a long-term effect for us even into the future of other viral infections that'll come along somewhere down the road. The other, I'm going to say, I'm sort of like heartbroken over this, but the other situation that I see with this as well is this has really put such a medical strain on our medical community, on our nurses and our frontliners who are fighting it. It's almost like, they're constantly on fire. It's like a fire drill after a fire drill every single day that it's burning them out like crazy. And we're going to have to really figure, how do we want our medical community to look like in the future? Because I feel what you're going to end up seeing is more and more nurses are going to quit. They're going to walk away. And we're just not going to have the people in those hospitals to take care of the people who are actually sick. And we're getting close to that being an overload, and I think it's going to come to a head in 2022. 2022 on a personal level is, I'm going to call it the year of revealing. What's hidden comes to the surface. Whether that's in your personal life, whether that's in a business life, or whether that's in, a global perspective. Politics, things of that nature. I feel that this year is a year of revealing, which means things are going to come to the surface. Things that have been hidden are going to be seen. We're not as gullible as we used to be, you know, and it feels like people really are starting, more and more people are going to do more research to figure out what's happening. And I feel it's just a time of balance. It's a time that, I don't want to say karma comes back, but I'll say it's a time when karma comes back for people to kind of like look at what it is that they want to change in their particular life. Secrets will be revealed. And I also see from an archaeological perspective, I feel like there's some scrolls, hidden writings, a hidden ancient civilization that's going to come to life in 2022 that's going to be discovered towards the end of the year. I don't want to talk about global changes, but I feel like I have to because we're going to have more storms. The only difference between these ice storms, I feel you're going to end up having a deep freeze that's going to happen this year. You know, I'm going to say towards January, end of January, beginning of February, that it's going to be colder than it's ever been in some places before, something that they've never experienced. And what this is going to bring to the surface, I see hurricanes again being an issue, along with forest fires again being an issue. I think this is something that we're going to see, and it keeps getting worse and worse, along with tornadoes. And what is going to come to a head this year is our infrastructure sucks. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. From our electrical grid to water to bridges, we have not put enough money into that as a country. And I feel that it's going to actually have something that's going to kind of blow up on us, where we're going to have people that are going to be without electricity for long periods of time, 2-3 weeks at a time, which is brutal if you're doing that in August in some of the southern states, and it's also brutal if it happens in the East Coast when it comes to winter and things of that nature. Economy. We are going to see prices that are going to go up on the bare necessities, gasoline, food, medicine. Prices are going to go higher and higher, and I feel that it's going to really impact the average person this year. I think it's going to hurt households causes two problems. It's like, we don't have enough manufacturing in this country, and I think it's going to really come to a head at this point. We're importing things that are coming in from other countries, and when you import this stuff from other countries, the shipping costs are going up, but at the same time, we're having all of these stoppages of getting it from the ports into the supermarkets, the grocery stores, you know, Walgreens, Walmart, I don't care where it is. It's just not getting there as fast, and we're going to start seeing emptier and emptier shelves, which is going to start to have people panic, and when people panic, they buy stuff that they don't need, and it just creates this backlog for everyone else. So I'm going to tell everyone, take some precautions and make sure you have canned goods in stock. Make sure that you have, you know, bread, milk. Don't let anything kind of go out. I don't want to say toilet paper because we know people run on that. But I would also say you want to keep 2 cases of bottled water at all times in your garage for an emergency. When these electric situations happen, what ends up happening is it creates issues from our water treatment plants are going to have some issues. Our water's not going to be drinkable. You're going to want to have some drinkable water that you have available to you. So I'm going to say make sure part of your regimen is to just take 2 cases of water and keep it at all times. I talked about medical breakthroughs. I think we're going to have some additional medical breakthroughs that are going to come in. I see that it's going to be able to repair certain issues within the back, the joints, things of that nature, that those procedures are going to become better, and it's less invasive than it's ever been before. And it's almost robotic. I feel like they're going to be more robots are going to be doing more of these procedures when they need to remove anything from the body, so it's just more effective, more efficient. Not having the deep incisions that we used to have, And of course, this is just one of the things that I love personally, is I'm a big proponent of stem cells. I talked about it last year, and that is going to be the future for us. Stem cells have the ability to go into the human body and regenerate what isn't working at that particular juncture. And the more research that we do on it, the better it's going to be. And I feel that that's going to be one of the big breakthroughs that we're going to have in the coming years. It's not just, I said it in 2021, 2022. I see that this is a new way of moving forward. Also, finally, we're going to look at supplements as a way of fighting some of these diseases that we have. If anyone talks about COVID, one of the things they say is zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C. It's like the doctors are starting to prescribe certain things that some of us health nuts have been taking for ourselves for years and years and years. And we're going to learn how to use essential oils, how we're going to use supplements to be able to make things better for ourselves. I highly recommend any kind of hormone therapy that is a natural way of doing things. I call it the fountain of youth. I believe it is the fountain of youth. So I would say do anything that you can do. And, we really need to get from behind the computers and just walk a little bit more. I feel like what I've noticed is people appear to be a lot more healthier than they've ever been before. And when there's more time that people have in their daily life and they do physical activity like go for a walk, and that's what they were able to do with COVID, and I feel people are keeping that as well. I'm a big proponent of yoga, walking, supplements, and just keeping your body as healthy as you can through this process, because you will have the ability to fight some of these diseases that come up, and it's going to give you a fighting chance against COVID as well. I think that's all I have, John.
Okay,
Yes.
well, very good. Mark what she said. You better walk.
Do some yoga.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Joy. Very enlightening, and we'll take it to heart, that's for sure. So our next speaker tonight is Mary Beth Wood, and she's done some outstanding work in the past as well. And so we hope that she will be telling us a little bit about what her plans are. By the way, before we finish with Joy, Joy has Miracles of Joy. It is in Louisville. You need to go by her store, because her store is a wonderful place to buy everything metaphysical. So you can find her on Facebook. She has her own page for Miracles of Joy. Plus, you can reach her. What's your email to reach her?
info@miraclesofjoy.org.
Okay. info@miraclesofjoy.org. We're broadcasting from Miracles of Joy tonight because Facebook has changed everything, and we don't know how to do this. so we figured a way to do this. So we're hoping that we're broadcasting. I think we are. I want to go to Mary Beth. I didn't need to take time from her, but I want her to go as long as she needs to go. And so I'm going to let Mary Beth introduce herself and tell you how to reach her, and just let her tell you about her predictions from last year and for this year. So Mary Beth, please go right ahead.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Wood. The name of my company is called Angel Sky Unlimited. You can reach me angelskyunlimited.com, or you can always text me. My number is 469-734-6690 if you want to schedule an appointment. But I'm going to go over 2021 predictions that came true. Last year I said 2021 was expect the unexpected. I said we would be using more crypto, and people are learning to use it more. I said I was seeing blackouts. Could be rolling. Imagine what happened here in Texas, right? Because February we had the big ice storm. And also, to keep the food and the water, and I'm going to say that again in 2022. You got to keep extra of everything. I said expect inflation in our food, our gas, etc. last year, and of course, right now it's even going into more than ever before. I said Silicon Valley companies move to different states, and as you know, Elon Musk is moving here to Austin, Texas. But when I Googled it to see how many companies, I actually saw 41 companies left California to move here in 2021. Also, there was big media will change different ownerships. I saw that CNN, new company between Discovery Media and Warner Media, so they switched. And also ESPN did some switching. This was weird I kept seeing like an explosion. I didn't know where it was. Like it felt like it was a nuclear accident. And on 12/4/21, there was a huge explosion near Iran, and it was in a nuclear facility. So see, sometimes when we get stuff, it's not always literal. You know what I mean? So it was in a place called Baghdad, Iran. And of course I saw the civil wars and the civil unrest, and you know what we got a lot of. Let's see. I said that I felt like things would lighten up like around the mask last year, and then Abbott here in Texas, he ended the statewide mask mandate like in March. And the catastrophe, I saw like a catastrophe in March or April. It was feeling like it was China. I said it could be like some sort of war, a major earthquake, and apparently they had 3 earthquakes last year. They had one on May 21st, and it was in the south central China, and May 22nd. So like it was a 6.1, then a 7.3. And then they had another one back in September. So I guess China had a lot. So that was 2021. And unfortunately, 2022 feels a little crazy and wonky as well. I'm calling 2022, it feels like riding a wave, which is also what you use, or a roller coaster. A lot of ups and downs. It's going to be ups and downs, crazy. I feel like, we're going to have this weird weather again. It's going to be here, and it's going to be around the world. I'm seeing a lot of flooding in the Midwest and Louisiana. I'm seeing hurricanes on the East Coast. And what was weird is when I was seeing it, it's like they were coming inward more than usual. Instead of hitting they were going a lot further in than just on like the coastline. And I'm kind of feeling like the Carolinas when I was getting maybe May or June. And I'm also seeing crops destroyed. And it feels more like Midwest, and also I saw Texas. And that could be from the flooding, but then I also saw like there were flying insects, and they were eating some of the crops. And it didn't look like a locust necessarily, it just looked like they were eating some of the crops. So I don't know what it was, but besides floods, it feels like some of our crops will be, going away. I'm seeing the weird tornadoes throughout the U.S. Feels more like people will pass than in 2021 because of the tornadoes. And, we had a big one, with New Orleans and all these other strange ones that we've been having. This was a weird one. When I saw India, it's like I saw this huge sinkhole, and like all these people just went in this sinkhole, and it felt like it was India. So it feels like a lot of people are going to pass there. And again, we're seeing lots of blackouts, tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, and the blackouts will be because of the hurricanes and stuff. Economy, inflation. It's going to be worse than last year, and it's going to get really bad on your food, on your gas, on your utilities. Our utility bills, I don't know if you noticed, but they're skyrocketing. especially, your electricity. I'm still seeing major food shortages. And I'm seeing famine in some other countries. Also, like, I know John doesn't agree with me, I don't think, on this one, but I feel like, I think we've been on a bubble for too long, both in our housing and in our stocks and, stock market. And what I kept hearing, so it may just be ups and downs, but I literally heard ups and downs, and then crash. So it feels like the stock market, and I don't think they're going to happen at the same time. Feels like it's going to be drawn out. But I do feel like we're going to have a bubble, kind of like 2008 as far as the housing. And, I hope to goodness I'm wrong on that, because Lord knows we all, need to, start saving, saving what we can, food, water, money, everything, put a little thing aside. The mortgage rates, they have gone up higher, and they're going to, they're supposed to be raising them at least 2 more times by the end of the year. So you're going to see that's going to be part of the housing bubble, because a lot of people aren't going to be able to refinance because the rates are going up. And some people, it's going to get them out of housing where they can't even get in. As I said last year, stock up on food, water, extra cash. And the reason why I say extra cash, if things go down, like, okay, there was some stores that had all the outages, like last year, when we had, the power outages and stuff. People, you couldn't buy things because the stores didn't have, they weren't open, where all they could deal with was cash. So keep extra cash in case your debit card, credit card doesn't work. Keep gas in your car. If it gets down to a quarter tank, go ahead and fill it up. Also, during our Texas winter storm, like, we had no electricity for 32 hours. We didn't even have rolling. So it was good that we had the extra canned food. So when you go to the store, grab extra canned foods. Go ahead and, buy extra, whatever you would. Just grab extra, whatever it is. And that way, every little bit will help you get further. A lot of people may not realize this, but you can buy what's called 25-year survival food. It's got a 25-year shelf life. It's really good, by the way. One company is called 4patriots.com if you need, help with that. Go onto their website. It's a good way to do it. And again, I've been saying this for years, buy gold and silver. And what a lot of people don't realize is that if you buy gold and silver, you don't have to buy like, oh, I'm going to buy $500 worth. Guess what? You can do like a couple ounces at a time. There are companies out there, maybe just buy 2 ounces, because right now, like, I looked it up today, you could get an American Eagle for like $31.91. That was today for 1 ounce silver. That's not bad. So a lot of people don't realize you can buy 2 or 3 ounces. It doesn't have to be like a huge amount. So, like, just plan it every, paycheck or something. Some of the companies you can do that with one is called moneymetals.com. That's one of the ones I use. And also apmex.com. So, something else, like, the government is not really showing the true value of gold and silver. And I believe it will be coming out. I don't know if it's going to come out this year, but it will be coming out, I feel, in the next couple of years. And silver is going to be used like in our technology, like in planes. We're going to start seeing silver used for more things, kind of like copper, So it's going to raise the price up a whole lot. So I think once things are being revealed, I mean, that $31 an ounce is going to turn into like $200 an ounce. So if you can buy some silver, some gold, go ahead and do it. It doesn't hurt you to have some, in your hand. Now, pay your bills first, though. You have debt, pay that off first. But it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of extra. When we have a true reset of our fiat dollar, it is obviously going to affect the whole world. And there you go with the silver and the gold and the cryptos. They will become a normal thing. Cryptos are going to be going up and down too. We're going to see a continual pattern on that, like a roller coaster. So if you want to invest, never invest more than you can afford to lose, just in case. So that might be something you might want to learn more about. I see more, restaurants closing. I'm still seeing civil unrest in our cities as well as other countries because of the lockdowns. And of course, being in Texas, more and more people are moving to Texas and Florida. A lot of the blue states, like California and New York, they're moving here because of the lockdown, so they're freer when they come to Texas. So start paying attention to your car tags in front of you. You'll notice a lot of people coming here. Something else I was getting, and this is kind of interesting. Facebook, Google, and Amazon. I'm kind of feeling like they might be getting into some sort of tax trouble, or something to do with taxes. I don't know exactly how they work all that, but I kept seeing something with taxes, and so I don't know if they're somehow they're going to be in trouble. Either they don't pay enough taxes, they're going to have to pay more, or something. But also, more people are waking up, and a lot of people are going to be standing up to those companies, and a lot more other companies saying, hey, we don't want our personal stuff out there. We don't want it shared. So it's just a lot of interesting stuff coming out. Midterm elections, I feel like the Democrats are going to lose a lot of people in the House and the Senate, only because a lot of people are so upset with the whole Afghanistan thing and the immigration problems. There's going to be, I'm just going to say it, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but this is a big one. I feel like Joe Biden will be removed. I think they're going to say it's for health reasons. But it was just a weird, wonky thing that I got, and I think it goes back to a lot of people are still upset with the Afghanistan thing, and I think a lot of the Democrats are actually upset about it, but I think it's more like health reasons for him. I know, it was a big one. Scandals is going to be around China and our politicians. I keep hearing scandals. There's going to be a lot of scandals around China, which you will see. And also there's going to be scandals on the celebrities and politicians around Jeffrey Epstein. I think there's still more stuff that's coming out that we haven't even surfaced yet. Kind of like what Joy was saying, more things are going to come out and people are going to be in shock. I think the virus is still going to be around. And, we go back to the vitamins. A lot of us, we do our vitamins. So I say protect yourself by taking vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc, along with your multivitamins. Do more natural substances to help prevent it and keep it at bay, because it really will. It helps us. It really does. Let's see. If you have, people that have left us over the year, just know that our loved ones, they're there to help us. And see, sometimes when they go to the other side, they can help us even more than how they can help us now. Because, maybe their bodies are tired, they've fought a good fight, and they're exhausted. But when we get to the other side, remember, we're just, we're having, we're realizing we're a spiritual being inside our physical bodies, And so a lot of times if you call on your loved ones that have crossed over, your angels, your spirit guides, they're here to help us. So they can help us a lot more when they're over there. So think of it that way. Yeah. As more people are awakening, they're realizing we're all spiritual beings in a physical body. There you go. Got it right. So learn to listen to your intuition and to your gut feelings. Great things to do to keep your vibrations up. Don't watch the news. Don't be in fear. Do meditate. Do exercise. Do listen to happy music and dance. My daughter called me the other day. I was dancing around in the kitchen with the Amazon Echo thing going on. So you got to do fun things to just try to get yourself out of the funk. Do take an Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt bath clears like any negative energy, anything that, it clears you and it helps heal you. It's more for spiritual clearing and cleansing. It's really amazing. Do you think happy thoughts and be grateful for your family and your health? Work on your spiritual growth. Try to see the beauty in the world. And try to pray and meditate and send lots of love and light out to the whole world. We need to be united, not divided. Thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Mary Beth. That was very nice. I clap too. Y'all clap out there.
We'll hear you.
Yeah, we will.
We know what you're doing. Once again, Mary Beth did a superb job last year, and so just take her words to heart because she's very, very good at this. So our next speaker is Frances May, and she's always a delight to have here. We enjoy Frances with her insight and her wisdom. And last year she made some really good predictions. She said she didn't remember them, but I saw them. And they were very spot on. So I'm going to just turn things over to Frances and let her tell you a little bit about herself and how you can reach her. And then let her just tell you what she's thinking for this year. So Frances, please go right ahead.
Thank you, John. As he said, my name is Frances May. You can reach me at my email, francesm7777 @gmail.com. And I work with astrology and tarot. I'm studying ancestral clearing and things of that sort. But more on that later, because that's something that's cropped up recently that's pretty important. I like to work with the astrology because it's so universal. And I also need to put in a plug for what Joy said. About 3 months before the COVID hit, I realized I was getting sick about every 6 weeks. And I thought, gee, it might be a good idea to improve my immune system. So I started using a herbal concoction by Wish Garden. One of them was called Kick-Ass Sinus, okay?
Kick-Ass Sinus, okay. Right
And
now.
it really clears out the sinus. They have other things. One of them is a kick-ass immune system. They really like me.
They like the words.
And they just recently came out with one for deep lung. And I started using these things, and my cold stopped, and I remained healthy throughout the whole issues going by. So she's correct in what Mary Beth is talking about. The vitamin D, especially vitamin D3, C, what's that other one you said?
Zinc.
Zinc is another one. So protect yourself that way. It can't hurt, and I think it gives you an extra line of defense. So, okay. Now you've heard from all three of us about what we've worked with. Okay. About the astrology that's going on right now. One of the big things for the world is Saturn being in Aquarius. And I was listening to them and thinking, yeah, what I wrote down here, Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn breaks things that are not working. That's the most constructive way I've come up with to look at that planet. A lot of people hate it because they see it as constricting. What it does is it breaks what's not working so that it can be replaced with something that's built on a solid foundation. So even though things will leave your life, the things that return are going to work with who you are now, not who you were when things started before. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes on with Saturn cycles. It's very interesting. In Aquarius, Aquarius has to do with humanity as a whole, with a sense of fellowship as a human being, caring for other people. So one of the things that Saturn and Aquarius is doing that I feel is going to be coming to light is it's revealing the misuse of some of the resources that had been intended to help humanity but got sort of just into somebody else's pockets. I think that's going to show up, and there's going to be a lot of reorganization and rebuilding of that. There was some other stuff in here. I'm not very neat today. Continued reevaluation and exposure of misuse, possible scandals coming to light, and we also have Pluto coming into a very strong position in the U.S. chart, which I'll get to in a little bit. But that's going to reveal a lot of deeply hidden secrets. And actually, if you think about it, it's been a really rough year when the U.S. government can announce, oh yes, there are such things as UFOs, and nobody gets excited about it. Okay, so at last it comes out. The secrets are coming out. One of the things today I was thinking about it, and we've got Uranus, the planet that rules Aquarius, in Taurus. Uranus is the planet of revolution. It was discovered shortly after the American Revolution, and then we had a whole bunch of other ones. The French got in on the act too. Aquarius has to do, again, Uranus has to do with okay. Yeah, I think this is why they like me. I make people laugh.
We're not laughing.
I know, but I'm laughing at myself first. I'm beating you to it. Anyhow, yeah, you try and keep Saturn and Uranus and Jupiter and all of those guys straight. It's not an easy task. Uranus in the sign of fixed Earth, which is what Taurus is. I think that's what's causing all of the crazy weather. That, coupled with what Cryon says, is something that our scientists have not realized yet. There is something that's called a water cycle that involves the freeing up of water from ice, and in some ways managing to purify the water in that way. So that's like something, like I said, it's something that we've not really defined. Our scientists have not really defined, but I'm pretty sure they're going to figure it out pretty soon. But I think that Uranus in Taurus is what's causing all of the weather issues that we've been seeing, or at least egging it on, as my grandmother would have said. I'd like to talk about Pluto now. Pluto is a planet that deals with social justice and equality. It also deals with all of the things you don't want to think about. It deals with the pain that's so deeply buried in so many of us. there's generations that have got Pluto in Scorpio, and Scorpio is the sign that Pluto rules. And now, countries have birth charts just like people do. Actually, it was more for the kings and for the countries than for the individuals in earlier times. At the time that this country was founded, Pluto was at 27 degrees, and I think it's 40 some, maybe it's 11 minutes of Capricorn. Right now, it's at 25 degrees, 20 minutes. No, 26 degrees, 20 minutes of Capricorn. So it's creeping up. It's almost back where it was when the country was founded 248 years ago.
Oh.
And these cycles bring things back. They bring things up. So I've been saying for quite a while, because the position of Pluto in the US chart is the second house, which has to do with values. And in case you haven't noticed, our values have been up and down and upended and torn apart, and it's up to us now as individuals to come to terms with what our values are, and seeing how we need to change the definitions that we made. The country was set up 248 years ago. Things have changed, but the deep values are valid. It's just that things have been mismanaged, misunderstood. They no longer completely reflect who we are and who we want to be. And that's one of the reasons I think I started out talking about going to the depths of your own pain. Because until you heal, until you know who you are, you don't have that solid foundation that I talked about Saturn producing for you. You don't have, you're built on shifting sand. And that's the way the country is right now. We need to make sure that what we build is built on bedrock, and it's as true as we can make it. And it happens person by person. Now, because of the revolution that occurred to create this country, there is that potential again. Do you want to redo the past, or do you want to create something new? We have the opportunity now, because Pluto's rubbing it in our noses. We are needing to fix it, and we will. And we do it one by one. So, there is the potential for chaos. But at the same time, we have Saturn, who's messing stuff up, but it's also holding things together to enable that bedrock to be found. So we have something that gives us continuity. We also are looking at Jupiter. Jupiter, I think it's just a few days ago, went into the sign of Pisces, which is the sign that it rules. And Pisces is a deeply spiritual sign. It's ruled by Neptune. It's got a dual rulership. A lot of the signs have dual rulerships because there weren't enough
It's an old ruler.
planets to go around, and until they just started discovering what Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. So Pisces, yes, good old Pisces, is ruled by both Jupiter and Neptune. Neptune is right now at about 20 degrees of Pisces. Jupiter just entered it, so we have two very powerful planets. Jupiter, after all, is the biggest planet that we have. And those two being in that sign that they rule, and because of what they rule being the unconscious, being spiritually driven and guided, and also capable of great illusion and a whole bunch of problems, including alcoholism. And that's never, I better stay away from that one, because that's one of my soapboxes. Anyhow, the positive effects of those planets working together in the third house of this country, which deals with compassion and expanding perception and consciousness, everyday consciousness, as well as the superconscious that Pisces represents and Neptune represents. I think that those are going to keep and raise the level of compassion among Americans as we go through all of the, we will call it fertilizer, that we have encountered in the last year. So as we go through that, we'll make the fertilizer do what it does best: make us grow, help us grow something good and positive. And I know how hard it is to look at the things that are going on and not just getting furious or depressed as okay, I'm not going to go for that. I'm real good at picking out really weird expressions. It takes an act of will to choose to create, by our thoughts and our gratitude, a better world. But I don't know about you, I'd rather live in a better world than what we've had. And yet, being grateful for what we have had, the things that we know that we wouldn't have known if we hadn't had a period of peace, that will help us get together and create the world that we need. So this is sort of my challenge to you. What do you want to create? A better world? Or just let the same old stuff happen? There's forces in motion that will help these things to take place. The energies coming in are very different from the way they were. A lot of times, and a lot of people that do Reiki have noticed changes in the way they're doing things that just spontaneously come in. So we are supported. And the last point I really want to make is, I was going through the ephemeris and making a list of the when the planets turn retrograde and when they turn direct. And on, I think it's December 2nd and 3rd, Uranus turns retrograde and Neptune turns direct. At that time, the sun is like 1 degree off of the ascendant of the US chart. So there's big changes to be made. Those two planets, Uranus deals with the higher mind, with higher altruism. Neptune deals with spirituality. Those two are going to be making big impressions at that time. And considering what the harmonic convergence of 1987 did, there's a lot of potential in this harmonic convergence. It's not going to be as big as the one in 87 because there was a grand trine going on at that time, and I don't remember that there's a grand trine right now, and I'm not going to look for it because I probably won't find it in time. But there again is stuff to support the positive changes that we need. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful year.
Well, thank you very much, Frances. It's wonderful to hear your wisdom and all of the thought you put into telling us about the planets. I do a little bit of astrology too, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I guess it's my turn. So it's easy to be last. I can just say ditto. But I did make some notes, so excuse me. Turn around here. I agree with much of what everybody said, but for last year, I said that it was the year of adjustment for me, year of change. And 2021 was a 5-year, which is a year of creativity, change, and chaos. We got a little bit of all of that. A lot of chaos, lots of things went wrong as far as Afghanistan and stuff like that. But we're still here, and that's a good thing. Of course, we have COVID still with us. That's not going away for a good while. So there's going to be different variants, and there's going to be different excuses to keep things closed down. So it's a little troubling that when people get some power, they use it and abuse it. So we've seen that in 2021. Astrologically, I was in line with Francis on many things. Pluto last year was kind of in the spot where it was in 1773 when we had the Boston Tea Party, and that was kind of a big moment when people were in rebellion already because they just didn't like the way the taxes were going and the way the government was being rather onerous at the time. And we're starting to see that now with the mandates and stuff like that, just kind of clamping down and people rebelling. So the difference, one of the main differences between then and now is that we have a system of courts, we have the Supreme Court, we have institutions that can address issues. And although many things can be shaken, I just don't think things are broken, at least not totally. So I'm optimistic as we go through this period of time, which is similar to the 1770s. So I'm optimistic we will get through it. My psychic predictions were that the economy was going to be changing. I didn't say inflation like Mary Beth did, but the economy is still rolling along very, very well. But it's kind of slowing down a little bit, and we're starting to see the stock market start to reevaluate itself. You're starting to see interest rates go up a little bit, so tech stocks are being affected, and people are going more into value. About half of the Dow Jones stocks, they say, are below where they were at the beginning of last year. So there's a lot of opportunity to get into some other things, from what I'm told. I'm not a financial advisor for you. So there's some opportunity in the stock market. It is going to be up and down. For me, it will end on a higher note, but not maybe as high as we've been used to. So that's kind of moving a little bit forward. And so fear and uncertainty were a part of 2021, and I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on right now. For this year, 2022 resonates the number 6, which 6 is the number for being responsible, and so responsible behavior is necessary. And the reason why I use that word is because as things come up, problems come up, people are going to have to deal with them responsibly, okay? And this is a year when things are going to have to get fixed, So we have a lot of social things that have gone haven't been taken care of, and we're going to have to address it. And so if there's marriages that have stayed together for the kids, or stayed together because they were afraid of COVID, or they didn't know what they're going to do. A lot of marriages are going to break. But by the same token, a lot of people are going to get married. People have been holding off on having children. This is a year when people are going to say, now or never. I'm not getting any younger. I want kids. So for me, this is the year to have kids. I mean, this is the year to start your family for me. So if you've been delaying having children, there's always going to be something wrong. But so you can't live in fear. If you want children and you're married and you don't, nowadays who knows? But this is a year, if you want that responsibility of having children, go for it. It's not going to be a perfect year, no, but it's not going to be awful either. From my perspective, it is a year to get out of debt. It's a year to get small. I call it getting small. You can have a good year if you have reasonable goals, expectations, living frugally, like Mary Beth was saying. There is caution over expanding. This is not a year for me to see people do a great deal of expansion because the economy is changing and the inflation is coming along. And I'll speak to that in just a moment. But astrologically, for me, I might have a little different take on things than Francis. But this is a year where there's going to be inflection points for me. One of them is going to be abortion. The Supreme Court's not going to make everybody happy. Abortion's not going to be illegal, but it's going to be different. It's going to go back, I feel, to the states. And so it's going to make a lot of people unhappy. So I feel like you're going to see the emergence of more women leaders and more minority leaders. You're going to see not them being all in agreement like we've seen in the past, where like all women were Democrats, all minorities were Democrat. You're going to start to see a conservative wing in each of those areas, and I feel like that is going to be healthy. I feel like it's going to be healthy because there's going to be more discussion, and the social media people are going to have to deal with it because there's going to be new social media companies coming up and new opportunities for speech. It's not going to be held down, so watch out, social media. There's going to be some restrictions on you. So the powerful are going to feel the small come back and say something. I mean, I don't say so much on social media because I'm certain I'd be banished. So I keep my powder dry, if you want to call it that. So I'm just saying that I feel like we're going to make it, even though we're going in troubled times, because we have institutions and we have things that can bend, we have things that can be expanded, we can address issues that need to be addressed, and with cooler heads. Now, there are things that are still going to be inflection points. I think education's an inflection point for us. But as far as the planets are concerned, I have a little bit different take about Neptune and Jupiter. Yes, Jupiter is in Pisces, going into Pisces. Jupiter's going to catch up to Neptune because it moves faster than Neptune. It's on a 12-year cycle, whereas Neptune's a 154-year cycle or something like that. So both of them are in the third house of the United States, and for me that's communications. And Neptune is about the media, and the media is in. And Francis, if you want to come in, you're welcome to say something. But did you want to say something about the media?
Illusion in the media, yeah. I think there's going to be probably some stuff come out about different media companies that have been twisting things, and also the clearing up of a lot of illusions. It's like people are putting their foot down and they're not taking well maybe for an answer. They're pursuing the facts, which is a good thing.
Well, with Jupiter going up against Neptune, there's going to be some expansion, or there's going to be something revealed about the media. All of it. It's not. This is not right or left. You know, we went through a rash not long ago where there were conservative people and liberal individuals who had to get off the stage because of misconduct behind the scenes. We're going to see a lot of that. We saw a little bit of it last year in CNN losing one of their big anchors, but not because of, well, several reasons. So there's something about last year, Pandora's box was open in some ways, and so now we're starting to see our differences. And I also feel like government, because Pluto is about government and corruption in government. Pluto has some ugly stuff it is about the soul, though. You know, it's about cleansing the soul and transformation. So we're in this period of transformation of our values, but traditional values always come through in the end. They just do. So they can be modified, they can change a little bit, but traditional values, the golden rule, those sort of things, they're coming back. They have to. There's no choice, because we can't function as a social beings without some type of security or trust. We just can't function without it, I don't think. So we're starting to see highlights where the government has been overspending and is getting a little bit out of control. So I think that in some ways the federal government is going to have to be minimized. Okay? And I feel like it has to be minimized because the supremacy clause is going to have to be modified, because some states are not going to listen to the federal government, and Texas may be one of them, like with the border wall. We're building our own border wall, you know, because it doesn't make sense at this point with being overrun by immigrants. It doesn't make sense. We have 400,000 immigrants in Houston alone, and the fraud business is terrible. Making new documents. So something's got to be done. And if there's old wounds from the Civil War, from other states toward Texas or the South, they're gonna have to get over it. Okay, we're all in it together. We're not stupid Southerners or whatever. You wouldn't want someone in your backyard either. So inflation and supply chain issues are long-term problems that did not exist in previous years. So if you have a green thumb, get a garden. Create a garden. Grow your own food. Grow something, because scarcity is here, and it's here for a while. That's why the supply chain is going to have to flip from overseas back to the United States. No more shenanigans. We're going to have to do that. People are going to be more self-sufficient, and I agree with Elon Musk. People are going to have kids. You know, we got to have kids. Got to get the kids back. But we're hurting our children right now. We're hurting our children's education because they're not in school. They got to catch up. So selfish people that have taken advantage of COVID for financial or whatever reasons are going to have to be held accountable, because we got to get the kids back in school. Kids have got to be socialized. We're leaving them with tremendous debt. We're not teaching them how to deal with it. I can only see what's going to happen in another 25 years. I mean, I probably won't be here. But the thing is, we've got to do something, and that's why the educational system, I feel, is going to have to be revamped. We're going to start seeing smaller schools. We're going to start to see more homeschooling. We're going to have to start to see the religious community, or Christian communities, Muslim communities, Jewish communities all start having more schools, because we can't be controlled by big unions. We can't do it, and because they just have too much power. So these things, that corruption and those things, is being exposed, and that may show up in bond elections being turned down. Maybe not this year, but in the future. So I want to talk a little bit about the economy just for a moment. The economy ultimately is headed for a recession. Not this year, probably next year. Probably next year we're going to be in a recession. And it depends on how deep it is. But the revolution is here. Okay? It's a different kind of revolution from what we had in 1776. But what we're having is the red state, blue state thing. And the red states are allowing more freedoms, and that's why people are moving there. Texas was the most moved to state in the nation last year. And it's because there's more opportunity here. So when you do that, and you're going to have rich states versus poor states. It's not going to be red versus blue. It's going to be rich versus poor. And if the federal government starts to tinker with the military, there's going to be states that say, you're not doing that with our militias. You're not doing that with our National Guard. You're not doing it. And so there's going to be some conflict there. Some astrologers are saying the United States is going to split up and be more than one country. I don't think so. I think we are going to see some type of resolution. But living in Texas versus California or Illinois is going to be a very, very different lifestyle. That's what I'm seeing. I think small towns will start to flourish, but you may see small towns that ideologically are pure. That's good and bad. It's bad because there's not going to be the diversity of thought, which is bad, and that's not good. That's not good for anybody. So we need to be able to try to get along, and I don't know how that is because everybody's intransigent. Nobody wants to give in. Now, elections this year are going to be turn Republican, the House and the Senate. I feel Senate barely, but the Republicans aren't going to be able to do anything this year. And next year, I just don't think I don't think they have the passion to get things done. I just don't. If they impeach Biden, it's going to fail, and it's a misuse anyway. So, because it can't be done, because there's just not enough in the Senate to make any difference. So, for me, recession's on the horizon for 2022 and 2023 at the end of the year. We're going to start seeing some things change. And unfortunately, the ugly head of slavery and human trafficking is going to be more pervasive because of this immigration situation. People have no rights when they come here, and they're being taken advantage of. Where they are right now, I don't know. We're having this undercurrent economy that is starting to flourish. It's going to start to pop up. We're already starting to see dozens of people in houses, and if those houses burn, which one did recently in Chicago or another city, you're going to have a lot of death, a lot of problems, and that's something that we're going to have to realize. Slavery's back. We have to realize that. Where it is, I don't know. It's underground, but it's gonna come up, and we're gonna have to deal with it. Unemployment's going to be mixed. A lot of jobs that are out there right now are going to go away because they can't be filled. They're either going to go to other countries, or there's going to have to be something done. And because the jobs that aren't being filled are going to lose funding, and that funding is then going to affect other jobs, and that's going to cause some problems. So, education reform is a must, and there's frustration with the public school system. And one of the ugliest things that I think is going to start to take rise in 2022 is vigilantism. I think we're going to start to see more vigilantes. And when you have DAs and you have people saying that we're not going to prosecute so-and-so and we're not going to put this person on bail, something's going to happen. And there's going to be some banding together, and there's going to be vigilantes. And somebody commits a crime, they may just go away, and that's not good either. So one of the reasons why I didn't want to really do any prediction nights was because, in a way, I feel like we're going into a darker time, but I also feel like there's going to be some bright spots. But I think that we're going to have to look to some people like Elon Musk. I think he may wind up doing some extraordinary things off the rails again. He might even produce a car that has some gas in it. And the reason why is because gas is going to be plentiful when we go to all electric. And so may see that. He may start his own university. He may start something new. He's that type of person. I think Kamala Harris is going to have big trouble this year. Okay. There's going to be talk about replacing her because we have issues with our president. I don't think he's going to die this year. And I don't think he's going to be removed. But I also think that he's going to be more reclusive because he is making too many gaffes. And so they're going to have to clamp down on that. Other people that I think that are in the news are Ray Dalio, if you don't know about him. He's doing a lot about promoting how China is a good parent. And so is Jamie Dimon. and so are companies like Nike. And I feel like we need to pay attention because they are not acting in the self-interest of the United States. They're not. And when they talk about how China's got it going, they're wrong. Look at the Chinese chart, the Chinese Communist chart. They got big time problems in China. We don't know what's going on with them on COVID, and they're not telling us, and neither is the media. Nobody, we don't know what's going on with them. So I think we're having problems. They're headed for a major revolution. If China did get into a fight with us, and if they won, the world's in for dark ages. That's, I don't think, going to happen right now, but I'm concerned about it. Now, cryptocurrencies, they're not ready for prime time. They're still developing. One of these days, they're going to be space money. That's what we're going to use for space money. So dollar's not dead, and the dollar needs to be bolstered. So I hope that what I'm saying tonight is not too dour, but I feel like these things are things that we're going to have to look out for and be aware of. And let's hope that I'm wrong on some of these things, because I want to be wrong on the vigilantism. I want to be wrong on those things, but I don't think so. So I think that in some cases, cities are going to continue to be abandoned. Large parts of commercial real estate is going to be abandoned in cities like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, maybe San Francisco. This defund the police is, I don't want to say crazy, because I know there are people that believe in it, but there's got to be some happy medium, because they're not going to let you go into stores without your ID. They're not going to let you go into stores without a personal shopper. They're going to metal detectors at stores, because this smash and grab is going to stop. And if the authorities don't do it, the stores are going to do it. And if the municipalities don't help them, they're going to leave. So, so these are some of the things that I'm seeing. It's just a reality check. That's what a 6-year is, reality check. And I think that we're due for it, and may not come too soon. So that's what I have right now. And if you're still with us, thank you. We've gone a little over. I talked more than I should have. But I'm just telling you what I am seeing for 2022. So we're going to try to wrap up. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
I think that this is more going to be a year of manifestation, and what I mean by that is personal manifestation. I believe when we're connected to our guidance, whatever you want to call it, spirit, whatever that is to you, what ends up happening is we can actually move energy, and in moving that energy, we can create what we want to create in our life. And I feel that what we've noticed in 2022 is like there is this unemployment gap that's kind of happening, but I also feel that people decided to live their passion, go out there and create what they wanted to create in their life and create a new life for themselves, because the old life didn't exist anymore. And these people have just learned how to make money at a different level for themselves to create something that they want to create in their life. And they don't have to go back and be a waitress, and they don't have to go back and work in a grocery store. They don't need this job anymore because they've been able to do something separate for themselves. I feel that social media is a way where people are doing it. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of social media. I am a fan of social media. It's how I run my business. I feel what I've done a little bit differently is I don't plug into the personal stuff. I use it just for that media. And I do follow TikTok. I do find out what crystals are the hot item today. And I feel that once we learn how to navigate social media that benefits us and what it is that we want to create, you can create a lot more for yourself. And I feel that it's like magic. You know, I think that we live in a world that is magical if we choose it to be magical, and it's more about focusing on that and just creating the magic in your everyday life.
Well, good. Any closing words from you, Mary Beth, or?
I just think that it's a good thing if, I agree with her as far as I really think what we think about, we bring about.
Mm-hmm.
We can manifest whatever we truly want. So why not put it out there? You know, send the love and the light out to everyone. And just know that whenever you do that, it comes back to us. You know. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Let's hope that is heard everywhere to send out that healing and send out
Yeah.
love and light to other people, and because more and more people are coming to psychics and mediums, they're coming to us for answers. There's a fork in the road, and you can either make the best of it or the worst of it. And I feel like we have real opportunities to make things better. But we have to do it on an individual basis first. Be responsible, and be willing to live. You know, that's why I say, you know, if you've been thinking about having kids, have them.
Right. And enjoy them. Have fun.
And enjoy them and teach them. So that's what I feel. Go ahead.
Yeah. I briefly mentioned something about ancestral clearing. It's something that's become, it's sort of become a buzzword, and it's in the last few years, what it does is it helps you address the patterns that come down through generations, that if we could get those things cleared up, we'd have a whole different world on our hands. John Newton does a lot of work with that, and I noticed that, or what's his name? The Shift Network has got something going on with the ancestral clearing as well. So, since we are the product of our ancestors, and we have a lot of the problems that they sent down to us, we can make a difference by healing ourselves, and it heals it back up the lineage. It's a corrective measure that is, once you do it, it's wonderful when that stuff is gone.
Yeah.
So look into that. It is something different. It's becoming much more available than it was before. So.
February is going to be a big month astrologically, isn't that right?
It's going to be busy.
Yeah, it's going to be busy with a lot of squares and different things happening with these outer planets. So
when the Pluto conjunction with the natal Pluto occurs, I think it's the 20th.
Yeah.
That's
So look
February.
for that, but just be good. Think positive, and everything will be okay. So that's it for this evening, and we may be here next year. At least I hope we're here. No more burieds, Joy.
Are there any
Okay.
questions? Or?
Well, let me just see if there's any questions that we can go
If we
down.
can find
If
them.
we can
If we
figure
can,
out
if
how.
we can figure out how. Let's see here. So we have quite a few viewers here. If you have questions, just contact us individually, and we'll answer your questions by email. But thank you so much for joining us again, and hopefully they won't change everything next year, and we can figure it out and do a better job. So take care.
Take care.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Ended. Supposed to end.
Yeah.
There. Okay.
There
Okay.
Hopefully
Oh.
that all worked, right?
We hope.
I think
Yeah,
it
I think it did.
did. Oh, it's good.
Your live video has ended. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Speaking of kids.